Hi, this is Dave Bundy. I'm the editor at the Lincoln Journal-Star, and this is our editorial board endorsement interview with Bailey Feit. She is a candidate for City Council in District 2, which is Southeast Lincoln. Bailey, in just a minute, you're going to take over and do a lot of the talking, but until then, we'll have Mike and Kent introduce themselves. So, Mike, you want to go first?
Hi, Bailey. I'm not sure if we've met or not, but I'm Mike James. I'm a community member and a member of the editorial board.
Okay, great.
And I'm Kent Walgamot, and I write about arts and entertainment, and I am the longest serving member of the editorial board. I've been on for about 12 years.
Awesome. Fantastic.
All right. Well, Bailey, the first question is a chance for you to tell folks about yourself and your candidacy. So, why do you want to serve on the city council, and what experiences and attributes do you have that would help you serve on the council?
Yeah. I love Lincoln. I've lived here my entire life, been an educator, taught at North Star High School for 10 years. I taught math. And ever since then, and even in high school, when I was a Lincoln High student, I was always about service. I did a lot of volunteer work. I still am a nonprofit board member for Spring Creek Prairie. I am a fitness instructor. I'm a mentor, teammate mentor. So I'm very much about giving back to my community and making sure that our community continues to be a great place to live. And I truly believe Lincoln's a great place to live. And that's why I've called it my home. That's why all my family personally, my husband's family, my brother, nephews, all live here. So my experience as a teacher, educator, like I said, fitness instructor, volunteer, mentor, all of those gives me different pockets of Lincoln. And I really get to meet a lot of diverse perspectives, which gives me a really well-rounded understanding of Lincoln's strength and potential for growth. I work with different audiences with varying needs. So like I work with high school students in my current job. I run a STEM career and college pathways focus program at Northeast High School. So I get to work with young people. I get to work with teachers. I get to work with administrators. I get to work with industry. I work with UNL's East Campus. That's who employs me. And so we work a lot in the agricultural industry, engineering, natural resources, environment. So that gives me a really, really good background to be able to support my residents in Lincoln, the same people that I would work for in District 2. So I'm running to make Lincoln an even better place. I think I will really work to keep people safe, ensure everybody has the opportunity to be successful. I will support our firefighters, police officers, our road conditions, that's just continual work. So we just need to keep investing in making sure our roads are safe. Make sure, taxes and affordable housing is not a concern for people to be able to have a successful career and feel successful. I think right now with inflation, it's really hurting the people who want to have great jobs and want to give back to their community. But we need opportunities for those folks to be able to engage and have affordable housing, afford a place to live, transportation, things like that. I really want to make sure those barriers are lowered. And then in addition, when I talk with my young people, especially the high schoolers, I just want to make sure they feel like Lincoln is a safe, sustainable, and supportive community, that they can feel successful and have a job and feel like they can maybe grow a local business or definitely find a career that they feel they can stay in Lincoln and be a great community member in the future.
All right, I got to be careful with that first question because it ends up stepping on the toes of all the other questions I have to ask.
That's okay. I'll repeat myself.
Well, yeah, you could. So the next question are, what do you see are the biggest issues in the second district, and then if they're different, citywide?
Oh yeah, a good point. When I think of District 2, we cover the entire south part of Lincoln, which has a lot of new development moving south. And I've been in all these interviews where I get to meet realtors, I get to meet home builders, developers, they have concerns, But then there's folks, young families moving to Lincoln that, they want to finally buy a home, a single family home, but they can't afford it because of whether it's inflation or all the other expenses that go into buying a place that's newly developed further south. There's also some concerns further south with safety and with access to utilities and resources in my district. A lot of those new developments don't have fire hydrants available. I'm a proponent of investing in a water tank for the firefighters so that they can continue to support the families south. And, utilities is an issue. So just making sure, I would love to learn more about the process and make sure that everybody's at the table, or at least everyone's heard, both the new folks who want to live in a house and want to build a house down there, and then the developers, and just find, how can we make this process swifter, more efficient, just maybe less costly, so that everyone feels they can have a great place to live. They have all the utilities they need. They have the infrastructure, the roads, all of that. So I feel like that is especially in District 2. And overall in Lincoln, some things that recently came up in a panel, which I agree with, is, some of our concerns with just transportation and access and efficiency of transportation, public transportation. I'm excited to that investment in a transportation hub. I'm excited to see where that goes. I'm excited to see how that affects our public transit system, and talk to those who actually use our public transit system, get to know what they think could improve it, or how we can keep moving forward and continue to make Lincoln attractive to, young people who might get in an apartment downtown and not want to have a car. Things like that. And then lastly, I'll end with, this comes a lot from my students I work with at Northeast High School. Our young people really want to see a Lincoln that is investing in renewable resources, energy, water conservation. They are very passionate about Lincoln never having a place in Lincoln that's food insecure. Food security is a big issue, especially with inflation right now. But even at Northeast High School, we live in a food desert here. And so our students are really passionate about community gardens, sharing food with one another, teaching other people how to garden, having more community gardens, things like that. And so I feel like I need to kind of be that voice of those young people and push for that as well in Lincoln.
What do you see as potential solutions to Lincoln's shortage of affordable housing and sort of middle income, working class housing?
Yeah, my first instinct is it's complicated. Like I said, there's a lot of people involved in making sure that happens. The most common thing I say is, I do feel like instead of spreading out our city and growing new developing houses outside of our city, we need to continue to invest inside of our city, where folks can use public transit, or they can walk from place to place. Because those who are looking for affordable housing, they're strapped. They need something to be able to, they need to afford a rent. They also, maybe if they don't have a car, they need to have access to public transit. So I'm a proponent of investing in that. I think Lincoln has tried to incentivize landlords and incentivize developers to build affordable housing. I'm not sure we're there yet. I don't think we are building enough to meet the need. So I'd like to see why, are those incentives just not intriguing enough? Are there ways we can apply for federal grant money so that we can support Lincoln building more affordable housing inside of town? But yeah, it's really listening. I'd really like to hear from people who are looking for affordable housing and what they are seeing, what's lacking, and making sure, the other part of that is, if it's affordable housing, that's great. And if there's a landlord, let's make sure that we also are keeping those landlords accountable to keep that, the buildings up to date and making it a safe place to live, even though it's an affordable housing unit.
All right. With the discussion about Lincoln Bold, it sort of threw tax increment financing, TIF, into the
It
the
did.
public consciousness again. How do you think Lincoln ought to be using TIF? Is it using it adequately, too little, too much?
Yeah, TIF is not something I'm 100% educated about. I've asked a lot of people about it. I do feel like it's one of the very few tools the government has for economic development. But I also believe in balance. I believe that something could be used too much. Now, I don't know if we've hit that point. I am not privy to the understanding of how it's affecting our long-term budget. I am fearful that those taxes later on are going to affect maybe our public schools. Other resources that we value are our park system, our libraries, our trail system. So I'm such a mathematical brain. I would love to look into that deeper as to how, and we're not giving taxes away per se. I know we're holding them steady, but unfortunately we keep seeing a rise in, again, our infrastructure needs. And so if we're not keeping up with the property taxes or the taxes that folks should pay, then we may be lacking on our infrastructure needs. At the same time, I can see where it's great for restructuring and renovating internal Lincoln areas, like the one at 70th and Vine, I believe it is. That space it looks really great now. And I understand why that would be really intriguing for now a business to go in there, because it looks really nice. It used TIF to help that. So I like the idea of revitalization, investing in expansions and rehabilitation. I do think that will attract new businesses, professionals, and young families, which ultimately help our economy. And I know we want Lincoln to be competitive. At the same time, I feel like there is a balance in making sure that we have resources available to us so that we can enjoy our libraries and lifestyle, trails, green spaces, and infrastructure needs.
Well, that was the perfect lead into the next question,
Okay.
which is what else? I mean, you've already started to kind of make a list, but what does Lincoln need to do to attract and keep young people, young families, and fill jobs?
So I will take that as a two-part question. So to attract people here, I think as a young person, I feel like I'm 35. So in that kind of young professional realm, and then the students I work with, we do want to see more green space. We want to make sure our trail systems stay up to date. Like I said, public transit, if we can continue to invest in that, I think that's positive. Affordable, like we already touched on, affordable places to live. These families want a roof over their head. That's a feeling of security. And when you have a feeling of security, you want to continue to live in that city. To fill jobs, on the other hand, what I love about the work that I do is that I get to share with young people the amazing new jobs that are out there that would be great for them, whether they can get that job with just some work-based training, which I feel like the city could do some public-private partnerships to assist with young people, but even folks maybe looking to change a job, that they could get some work-based learning or some training, some certifications to be able to access these really high quality careers that we are lacking and that we are needing right now. So that's part of it. Part of it is, again, investing in our own people and giving them the education they need to take that next step into a great career that has wonderful openings and availability. At the same time, getting careers in front of young people sooner. I don't think, even when I was young, I only knew the jobs that were around me in my life, and kind of teaching, lawyer, doctor, those were kind of the main ones. And we need to expand our students' understandings of so many career pathways out there for them and very accessible to them, and finding ways for them to learn about these jobs, go job shadow, do some work-based learning, do some internships so that they can feel like there is a place for them in Lincoln.
All right, well, Bailey, we're down to my last question, but that means that Mike and Kent usually jump in with something
Great.
here. So, Mike, you got something to jump in with? Kent
I'm
hasn't
good.
leaned forward
Go
yet.
Rockets, class of 95 right here.
Yay!
Kent, you leaned forward, so you got a question.
Yeah, you mentioned public safety earlier,
Mhm.
and that you know, crime has become this big issue in the mayoral campaign in
Yeah.
particular. And I guess my question is, do you see that as a great problem in Lincoln? And is there anything that needs to be done to address that? You know, I know
Yeah.
there's, you know, people talk about adding more police officers. Well, they've got the positions, they just can't get anybody to fill them at this moment.
Right. Right. Yeah. So there's a lot of pieces there, right? I mean, personally, no, I may be just privileged by saying that I feel safe in Lincoln. I do. I don't see this increase in crime that might be there. You know, I haven't delved into the numbers, but I don't personally see it or believe Lincoln has a strong concern about crime. Having said that, I do feel strongly about police officers receiving potentially more training on how to best and appropriately interact with people that don't look like them, maybe have mental health concerns. And I know we have a new program where the mental health practitioner can be called to intervene, which is fantastic. But I do think there are still some stereotypes and stigmas that police officers still might hold, that they may not treat every single person equitably. So I think training on that, I love when I see police officers interacting with young people, just to humanize them, to make them feel like they are not someone to be scared, you know, to be scared of, get to know every kind of person in Lincoln, every type of person, every person with different walks of life. So I do think training could be better, maybe not better, just increase maybe some of that diversity, inclusion, equitable training. And then there was another piece you said, Kent.
The
We
need for
talked
more
about
police.
filling jobs, right? I think that goes back to what I said. I don't hear young students talk about being a firefighter or police officer anymore. I don't know if that's because of our past and just news that they've seen, or if they just don't know enough about the career, because it is a great career to have. It is good if that's what they want to do. And I think we just need to have students meet them, or even go visit and figure out, oh, what is this police officer thing? What do they, you know, what is a day in and day out of a police officer? And what do they do? And I think it's really intriguing, especially for students who aren't sure they want to go to college right away. Because you can get trained and you can maybe just do a 2-year degree or less and be in just not only police, but firefighters, EMT, things like that. Yeah.
All right. Anything else from you guys before I ask the last question? Last question is, what have we not asked you about that you'd like to talk about?
Ooh, I like it. You know, I don't think we've chatted about, and maybe this is part of Lincoln being safe and supportive so that all folks feel they can be here and be successful. But I'm definitely a proponent of expanding our anti-discrimination laws and supporting veterans. So I'm a strong proponent of that fairness ordinance. I'd like to see that come back. I'd like to work with my fellow city council people. I'd like to work with the citizens of Lincoln to be sure that every person in Lincoln, no matter what, has all the same protections, has access to jobs. And yeah, that's it. So that's really important to me. I have a loved one that is part of the LGBTQ community, and that's really important to me.
All right. Well, with that, Bailey, I think we are concluded. Thank you very much for your time today, and we wish you the best on May 2nd.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you all. Great to meet
All right.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.